Ooh, what's up, nerds and geeks? My name is OMG, WTF, LOL, FTW, BRB. Welcome back to more Total Extreme Wrestling 2016. We are playing as the WWF in the year 2001. More importantly, we are booking the Invasion angle, and we're going to be running Thursday Night Nitro here tonight. It's going to be a good show. I'm very confident about this show, as I was for Monday Night Raw. I feel like I've done a pretty good job booking this up. And we'll see just how it goes. You know what I mean? We did have a couple locker room incidents before we started the show. One, Lord Steven Regal, the WCW commissioner, he was brought to Wrestlers Court today. He was being accused of not joining the boys for a night out. How dare he? Judge Rock found him guilty. I didn't write that in. And he was sentenced to buy everyone drinks. The normal one, for some reason, that improves everyone's behavior, but would irritate all the hell out of me. That's a lot of money. Just saying. Drinks aren't expensive, or aren't cheap, you know. Then, of course, us, Vince McMahon, we passed along tips to our proteges, Shane and Stephanie, on psychology. So you have that going for you as well. So not a bad night. I mean, Regal improving his behavior, I guess, and Stephanie and Shane learned something today. Either way, we only have one pre-show match here tonight. Mostly, I kind of wanted to get Steve Blackman and K-Quick on the show because I haven't used them since August. But I didn't really have anyone I wanted them to fight necessarily. I figured I could always just save them for Heat, too, if I really needed to. Either way, we have a pre-show match here that does poor Power Plant go on to defeat the Hollies when Mark Jindrak defeats Crash Holly with the Power Plant Bomb. Crash was the weak link, unfortunately. He was struggling to keep up with everyone's in-ring performance. Crash has finally returned. I think it was the first episode we suspended him for, I think it was hard drugs or something. And he's finally back, and we finally have been able to put him in a match. So, there you go, Crash. Not that, I'm not punishing him or anything by having him lose. It was more of a, I can use the Hollies now. Something like that, pretty much. So Regal I thought it said it did not do some good work at ringside for a second. Holly's not suited to his gimmick, or I should say Crash Holly's not suited to his gimmick, because there are two Hollies in this match. Mark Jindrak, surprisingly the best in-ring performer in this match with a 64. John Stasiak tying with Hardcore Holly at a 61, and Crash at a 50. No worker improvements. We go to open up the show, and No! Crash, what are you doing? We just got you back from rehab, bro. Oh, that's heartbreaking. I'm going to have to send him back to rehab. I thought he was good. Crash Holly was wasted on drugs. That's a shame. I'm going to have to send him to rehab again. What a shame. Either way, we then move on to our opening angle of the night, which gets an A-star rating with a 96 rating to it. We have the Unforgiven recap video once again playing, showing the events that happened at the pay-per-view. Nitro then starts with Paul Heyman already standing in the ring with Rob Van Dam, and Heyman takes the mic and he says, "Now things may not have gone the way we were hoping this past Sunday, but that was just the first battle in this war that is far, far from over. You see, this past Sunday, not only did Sabu walk out still your WWF Hardcore Champion, but both Tommy Dreamer and Rob Van Dam took Diamond Dallas Page and Booker T to their limits and looked damn impressive despite their defeats. Which leads me to why I'm out here. You see, RVD was this close to becoming the WCW champion." Of course, RVD does the RVD pose when he does anything, space between, stuff like that. Anyway, he continues saying, "And while, yes, almost only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades, I'd say Rob Van Dam has more than earned himself another shot at Booker T. That is, of course, if Booker T isn't too afraid that this time RVD will walk out the victor." That's when Diamond Dallas Page's music interrupts Paul Heyman, and down comes the WCW People's Champion as he gets in the ring with Heyman and RVD, and he says, "Oh, you've got to be kidding me. Hold on. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You're joking, right? Looked impressive in defeat? What a joke. You think that earns you a title shot around here? Last I checked, looking impressive in defeat still has the key word of defeat in there. So what? Your boy looked good. He still lost just like Tommy Dreamer did. If anyone is the number one contender for Booker T's WCW title, it's me. I still haven't gotten my one-on-one match. And then that's when the fireworks go off and Chris Jericho makes a surprise appearance on Thursdays here on Nitro. And he comes out, he stands at the entryway, and he says, "Fear not, ladies and germs, because Chris Jericho has come to make your Thursdays great again. I've come to save you from the bore that is Diamond Dallas Page and that dirty, slimy, greasy, obtuse walrus, better known as Paul Heyman. Just because the boss likes you, Paul, doesn't mean I've gotta." But back to you, Paige. You know, it's funny how you come out here and you say that defeat doesn't mean you're back in the title contention. Because last I checked, Grandpa, this past Monday Night Raw, when you were blackmailing your way to the title shot with Rock, you also took the pinfall in our triple threat match. It's because of you, old-timer, that I've got to sit out No Mercy. Or do I? You see, you brought up how you never got a one-on-one match against Booker T. And that reminded me. Neither have I. So if anyone should be taking on Whoopi Goldberg's son for the WCW World title at No Mercy, it's me, baby. And then Paige and Jericho, they begin to bicker back and forth with each other, and that's when Paul Heyman chimes in and he says, "If I may interrupt for a minute, it sounds like all three of us have our reasons. So I've got a proposition. Why don't you two put your money where your mouth is? Chris, you mentioned this past Monday you and DDP had a triple threat match with Stone Cold. Well, why don't we do it again? But instead of Stone Cold, we have Rob Van Dam in it." And then DDP says, "No way. Absolutely not." You know, and actually, second thought, I still owe you a beatdown, RVD, for the last time we met and Tommy Dreamer screwed me out of my title match. And as for you, Jericho, I just want to shut you up. So fine. You two are on. And then that confirms that tonight we will indeed have another triple threat match for the number one contendership for a title. And this time it'll be WCW's number one contendership on the line as Diamond Dallas Page from WCW battles Chris Jericho from the WWF and Rob Van Dam from ECW. So there you have it. Chris Jericho, he came out looking excellent. That's pretty cool. And that's pretty much it, really. Of course, Heenan was weak. Crowd got hotter because of the angle. RVD and Booker T moved on. I guess that kind of spoils it, but whatever. I'm a little worried about the main event, though, but we'll get to that when we get to that. Still not turning Chris Jericho yet. Hopefully soon, though. I don't want to have the same thing happen that we did with Kurt Angle. And then, of course, just similar to like we did on Monday Night Raw, the commentators announced that, indeed, we will see Diamond Dallas Page battling Jericho and RVD later on tonight, and the winner will go on to face Booker T for the WCW title at No Mercy. We then go to a 68C+ angle. That's a little disappointing here, but I guess Mean Gene just can't hold up with Kurt Angle here. But Kurt Angle, he's apparently arrived to the arena. He's at Nitro, and Mean Gene is sent to try and find him, as he does. And he approaches Kurt and he says, Kurt Angle, would you slow down a minute? I'm trying to talk to you." "Thank you, Kurt." "Kurt, what the heck are you doing here?" And then Angle says, "What am I doing here? Isn't it obvious? Chuck Palumbo and Stacy Keibler are trying to make a name for themselves off my expense. And while they may have cheated their way to a victory at Unforgiven, that hasn't stopped them from bragging about it every chance that they get. So if Chuck Palumbo wants to use me as a stepping stone, then it's time I show him just exactly why I'm the only Olympic gold medalist in pro wrestling history." And he walks out, presumably to go find Chuck Palumbo. Mean Gene performing poorly, which is unfortunate. Angle the came out of this looking excellent. And the storyline between him and Chuck didn't, suffer too bad. So we move on to another angle, not next match. I almost said next match. But another angle that gets an 84B+ rating. We have Canyon and Hugh Morris. They are backstage in a gym. They are working out. Canyon's lifting weights. You have Hugh Morris spotting him, of course, being annoying. He's sitting there like, "Come on, Chris, you got this. You're almost there. Come on, Chris. Come on." And Canyon just is like, "Hugh, your talking doesn't make this any easier." And that's when the WCW Tag Team Champions, Scott and Rick Steiner, come busting in. And Scott approaches Canyon and Morris and he says, "All right, losers, Party time's over. Time for the big boys to play, so get out. And then Hugh says, oh, come on, guys. What's the problem here? I mean, we're on the same team. Why can't all four of us just work out here? All right, one, we ain't on the same team. We may be a part of the same company, but you two are jokes, and we don't associate with jokes. And two, you two are jokes, so you can't train with us because we said so. And then that's when Scott pushes Hugh, and Hugh falls over, and then Canyon steps up and he says, hey man, what the hell is your problem? And then Scott says, I don't have a problem. Do you? Yeah, as a matter of fact, I do. Then do something about it. And then Canyon finally says, better yet, I think we will. How about you two step up and face us tonight? And then Scott says, it's your career, pretty boy. And then they walk off, presumably, not presumably, but hinting at that we will indeed see these two teams face off tonight, pretty much. Hugh Morris was underwhelming, which, that's okay, but he was also improving in acting, so can't hate him for that. I believe that moves us into our next segment, which does indeed get us a solid B rating with a 78 rating here. Our tag team match to open up the night today. Open up the night tonight, not today. Who says that? The night today. Shut up, Naughty. Get out of the scene. This is my video. Brother let my cat in. He's super annoying. He always talks and stuff. Anyway, we have a bout that had good wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd. The Steiner brothers go on to defeat Canyon and Hugh Morris in 7 minutes 41 seconds when Scott defeated Hugh Morris with the Steiner device. Scott carried the match in terms of a ring performance, which doesn't surprise me. Scott getting better at his gimmick as well. Not enough selling shown or psychology, which is a shame. They still did pretty good for, all that. Scott Steiner, you need to calm down with these 99 in-ring performances. It's getting a little crazy. Rick with a 79, Hugh Morris with a 70, and Canyon with a 76. All in all, not too bad. Hugh Morris is also improving in technical, so good night for Hugh Morris. And all in all, improving in acting and technical, good night for him. We then move to an 87 B+ here, Nerds and Geeks. After the match, Scott Steiner, he takes the mic and he says, you see how weak the tag teams are nowadays? First the Hardy, then those fat-ass Dudleys, and then these two jokes. There isn't a team on planet Earth that can beat us. There's not a damn team out there. And that's when the fireworks go off, and out come the Dudley boys once again, who they're standing at the entryway. Bubba then takes the mic while Devon's setting up a table, and Bubba says, keep running your mouth, Scott. You just give me more of a reason to shut it. This past Sunday, you two may have gotten the better of us. That's because we were fighting your type of match. But there ain't no way you two idiots can beat us in our match. You see, many have stepped up, and many have been put to a table courtesy of the Dudley boys. So if you two are even a quarter of the man you claim to be, then you have the balls to put those titles on the line against us one last time in the tables match. Or is the big booty daddy too afraid to get a splinter? And then I couldn't finish it, but pretty much Scott's just like, I'm going to break your back pretty much or something. And you guys are on, pissed that Bubba Ray Dudley, said that to him. So going on, pretty much confirming that this, he's accepting a match and confirming that at No Mercy we have our third match announced as the WCW Tag Team titles will be on the line once again, this time in a tables match against the master of the table, or the masters of the table match, I should say, Bubba Ray and Devon Dudley. So let's go ahead and drag them in. Dudley boys, the Steiner brothers. There you have it. Tables match for, no capitals, for WCW Tag titles. Dudley boys representing WWF/ECW, and the Steiner brothers, of course, representing WCW. So there we got 3 matches confirmed already, and it's only the first week. Tag team title match between the Dudleys and Steiners, Edge and Christian, and Austin and The Rock. Unfortunately, Devon did perform poorly in this segment, but the storyline in general just gained heat, so can't complain there. We then move on to another segment, which gets a solid 66 or solid C 60 rating here, which good on you guys, not too bad. We brought up Corporal Cajun, better known as Lash LaRoe, from our developmental territory. He was a WCW superstar, and I just figured I wanted to try calling up people that I rarely even I don't look at. I really only call up people that I know, so that's why I wanted to get someone like Corporal Cajun up here, someone I don't really know that well. Anyway, we have a bout that had subpar wrestling and little heat, which Corporal Cajun, that's impressive, man. Look at you go. Chuck Palumbo goes on to defeat Corporal Cajun in 3 minutes and 13 seconds with the Torture Rack submission hold. Palumbo with the 71 in-ring performance and Corporal Cajun with a 39. No worker improvements to happen here. We then move on to our next segment, which does an 85 B+, just a freestyle segment here, which I can just pretty much explain myself. Chuck Palumbo, standing tall to end the match. Kurt Angle, music hits, and out he comes. Chuck Palumbo waits for him in the ring. Once in the ring, the two start to brawl, exchanging left and rights. Kurt ends up taking Palumbo down, gets a couple hits on him while Chuck's trying to get out of the ring. He finally manages to get out of the ring. Maybe Kurt sends him out of the ring. Your choice. And once again, Stacy and Chuck have to backpedal while Kurt Angle's pissed and just begging him to get back in the ring. Won in the fight because he was screwed at no mercy, pretty much. Stacy Keibler's performance was good, and I don't think I've ever seen that before, so that means she is improving, and it gained heat for the storyline. No worker improvements here. We then move on to our next segment, which does a 66 C+. I forgot to put Mean Gene Okerlund in this angle, so whatever. Not too big of a deal. Either way, Mean Gene, he's backstage. He's with Ron Simmons, and he says, "Ladies and gentlemen, joining me now is the former WWF hardcore champion, Ron Simmons." Ron, regretfully, as I said before, you are indeed the former WWF hardcore champion. Last week, ECW Sabu managed to beat you and walk away with the belt. Now, I understand you requested this time to say something to the new WWF hardcore champion, so the floor is yours. And then Simmons says, "Yeah, Mean Gene, you see, I'm not a foolish man. I'm man enough to admit when I may have underestimated someone. And I may have underestimated Sabu, or better yet, I may have underestimated ECW in a whole. Because Sabu made his name in ECW, and ECW was all about the hardcore wrestling. You see, Sabu is at home with a weapon in his hands. And now that I know that, I know I gotta take it up a notch. So Sabu, you won't know when, you won't know where, but I'm coming for your ass, and I will be taking my title back with me." And then he walks away, and then Mean Gene says, "Well, there you have it, folks. Sabu, if I were you, I'd watch out." So Simmons was pretty much sending a message to Sabu. He came across well. This did lose heat for the feud, but that's to be expected since Sabu isn't really the most over person in the world. We then move on to our next match of the night, which gets us a 75 B- rating. That's all right. And about that had decent wrestling, but not much weighing heat. Tommy Dreamer goes on to defeat Lance Storm for the second time in a row, actually, with a pile driver, even though it's supposed to be the DDT, but whatever, after we had a distraction from Raven. So let me explain what's happening here. We did have to keep Lance Storm looking strong because he was not too happy that he was taking the loss. So we had to keep him strong, but other than that, he was happy to take the loss after we just made sure that he looked good in this match. I'd imagine Lance Storm looking good, and at one point, maybe even has a submission hold in, and he spots Raven jump over the crowd barricade, and then he wanders over to the timekeeper's area, grabs the WCW Canadian Championship, jumps back over the crowd barricade, and walks off with the WCW Canadian Championship. Well, Lance Storm's kind of like, "What the hell are you doing?" Blah, blah, blah. Turns around, gets the pile drive from Dreamer. 1, 2, 3. Tommy beats him once again. Lance Storm gets an in-ring performance of a 77. Dreamer a whole 10 points behind with a 66, which isn't too bad. And as you'll see here, we have added Tommy Dreamer to this triple threat, or making it now a triple threat feud. So Tommy might have something to say about this now that he's beaten Storm twice. It did gain some heat for the feud as well, so good on you guys there. This might lose some heat for it in the next segment, which it does. Either way, we go to a 68 C+ rating here. During the commercial break, the cameras caught up with Raven as he was walking off with the Canadian Championship, and he says, "Lance, do you see what happens? Do you see what happens when you ignore my demands? Despite me laying out the challenge to you weeks in advance, you avoided me at all cost, in hope that I'd go away. Well, Unforgiven has come and passed, and you missed your chance, so now you gotta face the consequences. If you won't give me a shot at the once known European Championship, then I'll just take it. And if you want it, you're going to have to come get it. So Raven explains why he stole the championship. Lance Storm didn't give him his title shot. Raven's taking it for his own now. We then move on to another match here, which does an impressive 71 B-. Good for you guys. 71 B- here, and about that had decent wrestling, but not much weight and heat. The new WCW Cruiserweight Champion comes out and defeats Jerry Lynn with the Shooting Star Press, looking good, and, both of them looked good here tonight, to be honest. Wow, they both had 60 in-ring performances, but managed to get a 70. That's amazing, guys. Good for you. Billy Kidman with a 64, Jerry Lynn with a 62. No worker improvements, but good night for you guys. I got to see this. Both have high morale. Good for the announcing. Kidman with the momentum. Hot crowd. He's got the inconsistency, and Lynn with poor momentum. But other than that, these guys did really good. Impressed. We then move to a 64C rating here. Billy Kidman's just won. He's celebrating, but instead of his music playing, Chavo Guerrero's music plays. Sometimes I talk too fast. Either way, Chavo's music plays, and he comes out, and he stands at the top of the entryway, clapping for Billy, and he says, Billy, if no one has already said it, let me be the first to congratulate you. This past Sunday, you and I battled back and forth over that Cruiserweight title. And you came out on top. So congrats to you. But can you do it again? Because I'm a Guerrero, damn it. I'm a warrior. And I'm ready to go anytime, anywhere. Are you? And then Kidman takes the mic and he says, you name the time and the place, and you've got your rematch. And then Chavo says, all right, how about no mercy? But let's take it up a notch. Let's hang it up in the air and have ourselves a ladder match! I had to do the Dario Cueto, I'm sorry. I had to. And then Kidman just goes, all right, you're on. And that confirms yet another match for No Mercy. No Mercy's filling up fast, as this time we're going to have a ladder match between Chavo Guerrero and Billy Kidman over the WCW Cruiserweight Championship. Let's go ahead and add that in. Billy Kidman versus Chavo Guerrero Jr. And let's go ahead, ladder match for WCW Cruiserweight. Okay, I was like, I know I messed up somewhere. Cruiserweight title, because I don't know if I'll be able to fill it at all. Billy Kidman, who is the Cruiserweight champion and representing WCW. I don't believe I did this for the Steiner, so I might have to do it myself again. Facing Chavo Guerrero, representing ECW. There we have it. Tori Wilson was good in this, her performance was good, mostly because she was probably rated on sex appeal, but good on you guys. Not too bad. We move on to another segment which gets a 78 B rating here, a solid B rating. The WWF Intercontinental Champion and 2001 King of the Ring winner, Chris Benoit, makes his way down to the ring alongside his mentor, the Nature Boy Ric Flair. Once in the ring, Ric Flair takes the mic and he says, "Woo! It's crazy how much can change in 24 hours. A minute last week did not start or end well for Chris Benoit. But I think we showed all our doubters this past Monday when we laid the dead man out." Shane, come on, man. Giant couldn't get it done. Chuck Palumbo couldn't get it done. There's only one man, and there always has been one man who could get the job done, baby, and take out the dead man. And that's the Canadian crippler, Chris Benoit, baby. Now, Undertaker, if you're watching, watch close, because Chris Benoit is going to give you a brief sample of what's to come. So it did lose some heat for the feud, but that's okay, as Benoit or Ric Flair pretty much cutting the promo for Benoit, pointing out that, yes, Benoit is indeed stepping up to take out The Undertaker for Shane McMahon in WCW, and he's going to be in action next, so he's going to give him a little preview of what's to come. So we got Chris Benoit battling Al Snow here tonight, and a solid B rating here that he gets an 82 rating. That's our 82 rating, not reading. That's impressive. We have a bout that had good wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd. Benoit goes on to defeat Al Snow in 6 minutes, 12 seconds, when Snow was disqualified after The Undertaker ran and attacked Benoit. So Taker's not waiting. He gets right in the match, and he goes after Benoit, leading to the disqualification. Benoit with a 92, Al Snow with a 64, again losing heat for them, but I'm not too worried about it. I'm sure they'll gain it back quickly. Snow is improving in Rumble. We move on to our next segment, which gets an 86B+. And it's just another freestyle segment where pretty much it's just Taker and Benoit brawling like they did, like we had earlier between Palumbo and Kurt, pretty much, where Taker kind of gets the advantage in here and sends both Benoit and Ric Flair packing while he stands tall and poses, while Chris Benoit just kind of looks like, what the hell did I get myself into, pretty much. Taker was fantastic. Benoit came across as well, or came across well, I should say. Not too shabby on both parts, although I was hoping that this angle would help us gain some heat back. Fortunately, it didn't, but I'm sure we have plenty of time. We'll gain our heat back. We then move on to the main event of the night that does a solid B rating here, getting an 81. In a good match, Rob Van Dam goes on to defeat Diamond Dallas Page and Chris Jericho when RVD defeats Chris Jericho with the 5-star frog splash. Jericho carried the match in terms of in-ring performance. So basically what I'd imagine happening here is DDP hits Jericho with the Diamond Cutter, taking Jericho down, but he doesn't see RVD, who comes flying in out of nowhere, hitting like that diving kick he always does, sending DDP kind of like out of the ring. He then sees his opportunity, climbs to the rope, hits the frog splash on top of Chris Jericho. 1, 2, 3. RVD is going on to fight Booker T at No Mercy, confirming yet another match for the pay-per-view between Booker T and RVD. So let's go ahead and book this in. WCW World Championship match. Not L. That's what I wanted. Booker T, who is the champion, and he's representing the WCW, battles Rob Van Dam, who is representing ECW. So there you have it. We confirmed it. DDP with an 82, RVD with a 74, and Chris Jericho with a 93. This did lose some heat for Jericho and DDP, but I'm confident they will also gain it back pretty quickly as well. Although I am going to have to give both of them pretty big bonuses because I'm pretty sure they're extremely pissed at me that I had them lose to RVD. They were not happy about it at all. They were furious. And I could not do the keep strong or protect because they were still mad, so I didn't do it anyway because I figured why not. This was also our storytelling match of the night. I also forgot to mention that the Steiners versus Canyon and Morris was the Wild Brawl match of the night. Either way, we end off the night with a solid 80B, which is just Booker T and ending off the show as he races in the ring and takes Rob Van Dam out with the WCW World Championship, laying him out and then standing over him tall to end off the show. It did lose some heat for that storyline, but again, not too worried about it. Nitro does an 87B+, which isn't the best rating in the world, but it certainly isn't the worst rating in the world. It's pretty good, okay? It still increased our popularity in 7 regions, but America was like, yeah, this is what I expected, pretty much. One-man gang. Did not know he was actually still wrestling at this time period, huh? We didn't get the M-Pro. Look at that. Michinoku Pro Wrestling. Isn't that Taka's company? No, it's the Great Sasuke. Why is it called Michinoku then? Either way, Nitro was fantastic. Look at this. They held a pay-per-view. Surrender No Option, where Masahiro Chono was the star of the night. Jimmy Yang's hot property. Well, good thing he's under contract with us. BJ Whitmer staying with IWA. Nothing too special here. Lovely picture, kill switch. Alright, so BJ, we already knew about that. Mark Jindrak, annoyed that Crash Holly was wasted, as was Hardcore Holly. Which is a shame, because we got to suspend him now. Jim Cornette. Crash Holly has poor in-ring psychology. The kid is probably not worth keeping around. Well, damn. And then Raven says Billy Kidman doesn't connect with the fans. You should probably write the kid off. Some negative opinions here tonight. So here we have it. Crash Holly. Gotta send you to rehab, buddy. Sorry. It did improve his behavior. He's happy about it again, but I don't care if you're happy, Crash. I mean, you just got out of rehab, dude, and you're already back in. 4 months. It's less days than Sandman got. Hopefully it helps him. It's a shame, dude. It is a shame. Because it's like eerily eerily like there. Yeah, Diamond Dallas Page and Chris Jericho. They're very angry at me right now, so let's go ahead and give them an outrageous amount of money for taking the loss. We're going to give them both $100,000. So DDP's happy now. All right, yeah, I'll take $100,000. No, losing to RVD, it's not that bad anymore. Yeah, I figured. I mean, if you got $100,000 just for taking a fall, here you go, Chris. 1,000 for you too. Everyone's happy. It's not gonna hurt us too bad, but it definitely it kind of gets me personally, just because I don't know. I guess as a wrestler in training, to me, it's like you take your fall. You don't really, you're there to do a job. I know Jericho and DDP are like stars, so to them it's kind of like, oh, you're gonna bury me for this guy, but at the same time, it's just kind of like, no, I'm not gonna bury you. You're still gonna, get pushed good. It's just, I'm not. Everyone's gotta lose sometimes, and unfortunately, sometimes a big guy needs to lose to a little guy to help get the little guy over. That's just how it works. But I guess, whatever. I'm not gonna let it bother me too much. Either way, though, Nerds and Geeks, that's going to be the end of this episode. I hope you guys have enjoyed. If you have, do me a favor. Leave me a comment, a like, and subscribe if you haven't already. And as always, my name has been OMG WTF, LOL to WBRB, and I will see you guys for Sunday Night Heat. So until then, have a great day, guys.